Thank you for joining and welcome. We are discussing engineering basics for ERP implementation. And it's one of the most complex tech solution to actually implement. Is why we are starting with this. It's a 10-part series. So for each time we come live, we'll be discussing different project type, technical project type, how to deliver them, what the risks are, what the pressure points would be, how to respond to it from your role standpoint. So it'd be good if you let me know, who you are, what you do, so that I can take your role into consideration. All right. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's get started. So, the first thing I must say is before we come into live today, we have shared the detailed conversation snippets, really detailed discussion about this particular project. I believe on LinkedIn. So if you're not following us on LinkedIn, you want to do that. So you want to read that first so that you have a good context to what we are discussing before coming into live. So we'll tend to do this once a week on Friday. So hopefully we will get we will get the conversation out earlier in the week. You catch that, then we can then have the conversation live like this on Fridays. I hope that helps everybody. But today we are discussing one of the most interesting topics, ERP. The question is, what makes it so difficult? What makes it different? Let me start from my introduction. My name is Adeyinka, and I am the Chief Executive Officer for Mabi Consultancy. I am here once in a while, and every time you see me online, you should know that there is a very important topic about to go down. ERP is pretty much like the central nervous system for any business. Any business that can afford to have one in place. Be it health, be it sport, be it entertainment, whatever the organization is, if you're big enough to have it and you have it in place, then you have a good nervous system in place that controls every area of your business if it is deployed properly. So you can imagine how important, how relevant this conversation is. Okay. Just to put it in perspective, we've all been using it. We've all been a part of one ERP or the other. If you're part of an health system within the country, you are part of an ERP system already. If you use a platform like eBay, all of that, they are pretty much running behind a solid ERP system because it kind of goes from payments to stock to sale. So different things kind of going on at the same time within the same system. So that is what ERP really is. It's like a single platform that runs different areas of a business, be it finance, HR, supply chain, procurement, you name it. So it is a very important system for organizations that can afford it. Okay. To put it in our own term, like day to day, we are talking like your smartphone, working together with the camera, with the calculator, your diary, all together in one smart system. So that is pretty much like your personal ERP system. Okay. GPS, messaging, all in one go, you know, like when you save a person's contact on your contact list, you can then use that same contact to send message. You can use that same contact to dial to ring them. You can use that same contact to share your pictures in camera. So all of that really is using the same data across different areas of your phone. So that is pretty much like your personal ERP. Does that make sense, guys? If it does, let me see that it does. Please buzz or like or something so that I know that I'm making sense. All right. Let me put a disclaimer out here first, please. Right? I'm a newbie like TikTok liver. So if I commit any blunder here, you need to apologize. You need to accept my apology in advance. All right. So please like, share, whatever it is you guys do, just do it so that we get more traction to this live session. All right. But in terms of business term, what are the examples you have? You have things like Oracle, Workday. Like I said, your NHS, the eGov, the gov.uk website, for example, is running behind a solid ERP system, Microsoft Dynamics 365, Workday, SAP, you name it, there are lots of them. Even something as simple as you opening up what is it called? What's the name of this place where people buy stuff? Digital stuff. I've forgotten the name now. Not eBay. There is another one that's so popular now. Like you put your product there and then people can get to buy it. So you link that particular, you link your inventory to the payment system to either PayPal or Stripe or whatever. So wherever you have an integration going on within a system where you don't need to log out to get into other areas of that system, you are within an ERP. Thank you very much for your likes. To see what you guys, we're already on 400 likes. Well done, guys. Keep going, keep going, keep going. All right. So having said that, now what makes this conversation then necessary? After all, we are talking about big organizations and like why is it relevant for you? If you're a person that is already in tech, or you're looking to start working in tech, or you are new to it, or you are aspiring to be in it, regardless of what capacity, it would do a lot of good to understand the elementaries so that you can hold up conversations properly with your team. Whether you are a project manager, a BA, a Scrum Master, a PMO, a product owner, whatever it is, as long as you are not an engineer, this conversation here is relevant to you. All right? There are about 5 different areas of deploying is a good ERP implementation. Having a good ERP implementation experience, you need to go through 5 different areas. The first of them is your data migration. How does data move from one area of the system to another? Like that journey, how does it even happen? That's one. Having to make a decision between configuration and then customization would be a decision that all of you would have to make. However, it kind of lies on some roles much more than the other. And which roles does it lie on? You. Because you are the people that will be having these conversations with the business. You guys are the IS experts. You will be working hand in hand with the business, eliciting their requirements, eliciting where their heads is at. And then you will take that to the people that will then do the core implementation of it, which are your tech people, your IT people, the coders, like I always call them. Right? So it is paramount that you are privy to some of these terms that they throw around here and there. And some of them they throw around intentionally. So today we are going to be demystifying them. The next thing is around the test cycle. How test heavy are these things? What should you test? What should you not test? What are the things that could actually jump at you during test for an ERP system? Like, what should you be afraid of? Does that make sense? Another one is around change management. Right? How do you manage change? How do you ensure that this thing does not go out of hand? You know, when the business brings one more thing and then one more thing and then just one more, where do you draw the line and how should you draw the line? The last one, integrations. I think that's for me is one of the biggest deal. You get your integrations wrong, then your whole system will be upside down. Does that make sense, guys? So you want to make sure that you grab a pen, you grab a paper, and you jot some things down. If you are not already following our page on LinkedIn, you want to do that because following on from here, you should go there and grab the detailed article on this particular topic. It was shared a few days ago so that people can read it, digest it, and then we can come here and then have a live conversation. So let's go back to the one that is at the top of the tree. Data migration. What does that mean? How do you move data from one area of the system safely to another? Knowing that you cannot just lift and shift it, you cannot just copy and paste the data. Sometimes it needs to change. It needs to get wider. It needs to get smaller. It needs to get clean. I mean, the data itself, you need to map it. You need to translate it. You need to change the format sometimes. What I mean is there are certain systems that you have had a few years, you've had 10 years. And this system has been collecting data for a long, 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 long time. You see all of those records you've had, it doesn't mean that in 2025, should you want to get into an ERP solution, it doesn't mean those data will be useful in the state that you have been collecting them. This new system of yours, remember, is now a 21st century system. There will be a lot of formatting issues where you have been collecting your date, for example, in 01/01/2025 in your previous system. This new system might come and tell you, you know what, we do not accept that anymore. We want to go American style formats, or we want to go 01 January 2025. How do you do it? Because you can't just lift it. If you do that, you will have a lot of errors. You will have a lot of blockers, you know. Hi, Tessia. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, Jericho Davis. Welcome, and thank you for joining. You know, so you will have a lot of issues if you did that. So how do you safely migrate your data? What does it entail? What should you be worried about? If you move the contact you had in your old phone, the one you were using some 10 years ago, and you then just carried all of those records you have in there and dumped them in this your new phone, the question I will ask you is every record in there, is it relevant to you now? All the record you are about to carry, lift and shift into this your new phone, will you be using them? You know, there are a lot of people that you will have lost contact with. There are a lot of names that even if you see it now, you probably would not recognize who it is. You know, so that's what we are talking about here. You cannot lift all of those junk from your old legacy system into your new system. All right. So you need to do a lot of things like cleaning your data to address any inconsistency in terms of formats. Where your old system is taking people's details as first name first and then last name. If your new system takes just initial and then last name, you need to do that translation so that your records can be recognizable. All right. You have issues around duplicate records as well. You know, where Adeyinka Badmus, for example, have appeared in your legacy system more than one time, whereas I'm just one person. If you carry that, if I've appeared in your old phone 5 times, you don't want to you don't want to do that transmission, carrying all of that errors forward. One of the things you have to sit down and do first is to look at those records and see which one of them is truly my current contact detail. All right. That is you taking out all of the junks and taking out the real records that you need forward into your new phone. Does that make sense? So that is what I mean by you'll be addressing your duplicate records. And it won't be that easy. You have one of your record, my full name is Adeyinka Badmus. And you may have one of your record going A Badmus. Some of them may go Adeyinka Badmus with incorrect spelling. Some of them may have just Adeyinka without the surname there. So sometimes you may need to lay down all of these records and then come through an inference method to determine, okay, with everything we know about this lady over all of these years, which one of these records does stand? For example, let's take example from where I've moved on multiple times over the years. You have me in your system with the address details I've had a few years ago, maybe 6, 7 years ago. And then you have the same me with an address record change some 3 years ago. Which of those records do you take without putting a call through to me going, you know, Adeyinka, where do you live now? So in that case, you will need to do an inference. You look at the termination, the expiry date of the records you have. Because if I've been your customer for the past 20 years and you see a record saying A Badmus, you can't just automatically say, oh, that's Adeyinka Badmus. What if you have some Alex Badmus as well? How do you know? So a lot of translation rules need to be put in place so that you can ID which record is now the real deal for this customer. So you need to address those. And then things like missing fields is another issue when it comes to data migration. Missing fields, where your new ERP system requires 10 fields. And unfortunately, your legacy system, your old system, only has 5 fields. Guess what? These extra 5 fields may be required mandatory fields that you need to fill in your new system. So how do you address that? Missing fields, missing records. I mean, not even missing records. The records exist, but the fields are not complete. How do you address that? Yeah? Structural mismatch, where you have, let's say, gender. You know what gender is saying nowadays in 2025. You know what gender is saying now. Gender is no longer 0 or 1. It's no longer male or female. That's a big deal. How do you translate that? Because a person that is not a woman or a man, I mean, talking in terms of 2025's term, how do you identify them? Because we used to have male and female, and then things progressed. We had male, female, and then other. But now we have more range. We have more than just 3 ranges now. And with absolute respect to everybody in that category, how do you translate it? Because we can't lose them. They are viable data. How do we translate them? What step do you take? First, you will do your data mapping. I mean, you take your data and you look at what it is called now. Then you look at what it needs to be called in future. Then you do the manual mapping of those. At code level, at query level, you will do the mappings. When you are sure of your mappings, then you can do the automation of it. Okay? You cannot automate what you have not manually validated. All right? So the first layer is to manually do the mapping first, test it out, then you automate it. When you are done with the mapping will help you to identify the things you need and the things you don't need. Then you move on to cleansing the records you have. You cleanse the record you have by weeding out the things you don't need after you have hopefully identified the things you need. All right? Once you are done with that, then you go on to validate your records. When they are validated, then you can go ahead and do your migration. You do not migrate dirty records. It's not a good way to do it. It will cause more problems for you down the pipeline. To put it in perspective, the few things you need to address: inconsistency in formats, duplicate records, missing fields, structural mismatch. You need to address all of those one by one within your records. Then you go ahead and do the mapping, cleansing, validation, and then you do the migration. Does that make sense, guys? Does that make sense? Communicate, please. Who is there? Tessia, are you still there? Okay. So that's that. Thank you very much, Jaco. Thank you very much. Well done. Thank you. So what are your role expectations when it comes to data migration? What are your role expectations? If you're a project manager, this is where you are talking about your plan migration timeline. You need to plan it. Okay. Major, well done. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. You need to coordinate your test phases. You are the project manager, so you will be talking to different roles within your team and outside of your team. All right. ERP is a truly cross-functional solution. So it won't be just you and your little team alone. You'll be dealing with different people across the business. All right. You will ensure that at every point you get your business to sign off. Whether you are operating agile or waterfall, it doesn't matter. You want to make sure you get them to sign off. All right? Because ERP are expensive. And when you get it wrong, you don't want to be the person, the person who they call for the wrong reason. Does that make sense? So make sure you get their approval as you progress through your cycle. That's if you're a project manager. If you're a business analyst, you are the person that's then working with the SMEs, the subject matter experts. really getting the true meaning of what they are requesting in terms of data. You are the person that is mapping the old data that they have to the new ERP data expectation. You are the one that is identifying the missing data for them. You are the one that is creating the validation rules. So you have a lot of things to do if you are a data business analyst. All right. You need to understand the rule of data. It is truly important. Please like, share to get more people in. As you can already imagine, this is an important topic to treat. And I'm so excited to be here with you tonight. If you are a product owner, you need to prioritize which data sets need to be migrated first, in what order. What data is more business-centric first? What's more important to your business? So you need to get your hands dirty. I've seen a lot of product owners that are always on a high horse. If you are a product owner, you cannot be on a high horse. You are as good as your knowledge of your products. So you need to be a good product owner by rolling your sleeves and getting stuck in. All right? Your role is too important to be distant from your product. I have worked with quite a lot of product owners, and I can tell you, the best one I've seen are the ones that have previously been engineers before they became product owners, because they will pull the business apart. They will stretch them to get the real thing out of them. All right. So if you're a product owner, you don't want to distance. You don't want to be the all-suited up product owner. You want to be a product owner that's really involved with the business and with the product, because everyone is riding on your knowledge. All right. So you want to prioritize the data set that is more business central, the things that are most important to your business, and also the things that are technically possible in the new world that you're going into. Does that make sense, guys? So that is on data migration. That's the first area we are treating. Okay. The next area we are treating in terms of ERP engineering is around how you justify configuration versus customization. What do they mean? Why are they important? Thank you very much, Tessia. Thank you very much, Jaco. I see what you guys are doing. Well done, guys. Thank you. What does it mean? Configuration is when you are changing an existing setting within your phone, for example. You are literally just working within the boundaries of what is there. All right? Customization is when you then take the screwdriver and you open up your phone to physically move things around within your phone. How scared would you be to do that? You know, customization is where you physically distort an existing system. All right. You are rewriting the software. You are rearranging the hardware. That is most higher risk. That is more higher risk. And I'm serious. So you want to exhaust your option in terms of configuration before you go down the path of customization. All right. You want to make sure that you have explored the option when it comes to configuration, like what is available within the existing structure first, before you dabble into rearranging an existing system. It is more risky. All right. Now, what are the risks here? What are the problems here? Over customization. Now, you may enjoy it, but have you thought about upgrades later? How easy would it be to upgrade this system if you have overly customized it? Because you will not benefit from the rollout upgrades from the people that owns the system, the people that sold it to you. When they deploy an upgrade out on their end, you will not benefit from it because you have over customized your system. So you will need to be the one that is responsible for your own upgrades. And that is a problem. You don't know when you are now open to cyber attack. You won't know when you are now open to backdoor problems. You won't know because you have so much made your system so susceptible. So that's why you don't want to dabble into customization so early. You will exhaust configuration first. Operate within the settings that are already available. How many of you guys have ever opened up your iPhone or opened up your Samsung phone? How many of you guys have ever deleted your operating system to build your own operating system? The worst you can do is delete your operating system and re-download a new version of your operating system, which is still okay in terms of configuration. You are still operating within the boundaries that, either Apple or Samsung have set. But from the minute you delete the operating system and put your own personal version in, when Apple deploy an update, I bet you won't get it. You will not be receiving that update because your system just now carries the logo of Apple. It is no longer an Apple product. If you have customized it so much, when the apple is now so far from the tree, then you will have to ride alone. And that is a problem. In tech, you want to make sure that you're operating within the boundaries where you will receive support. Remember, you have paid for support for your ERP system. So when you overly customize it, you are losing your warranty. You are losing the support you have. I hope I'm making sense, guys. Beatrice, Tessia, I hope I'm making sense. So you don't want to overly customize your system. You want to configure it first. And then over and above that, then you then add a few configurations here and there. All right. That's one. Dependency on specific development team or specific developers. Because like me, I know what I know. I understand Python. I understand SQL. I understand, Go language. I know what I know. I understand C#. Now, if I am then the only developer in your team that understands the customization of this product, you won't be able to sack me. You can't sack me. All right? Because I have you guys. I have you on the neck already. I can't go. If I leave, the whole business of yours is gonna check. Okay? So you don't want to be overly reliant on a few set of people that understand how they have customized this. Remember that everybody is dispensable, whether willingly or not willingly, whether being sacked or just choosing to move on. So you don't want to rely on individual knowledge within your organization when this product has a label. The label is called Microsoft. So if you then intentionally make me a mere developer within your organization, your own Microsoft, then you are literally, you are at my mercy, really. So that is what over customization costs. You'll be at the mercy of a subset of people, even though you have paid a lot of money in warranty, in support for this particular product of yours. All right. So you don't want to over customize a product. It comes at higher cost. As you can already imagine, with all of this explanation, you will agree with me. It comes at a much higher cost. So you would always have to prioritize configuration first before going down the customization route. All right. Now, to put this in perspective, the risk over customization, dependency on a sub team within your organization, and then the cost of maintaining it, because you cannot then rely on the warranty, the solution support that you have already paid for. You can't rely on that anymore. You have to pay for this over customization that you have now caused for yourself. So you need to manage it. Make sure that you are only customizing where it is due. And how would you do that? You will configure first. After you've configured and you have exhausted all options, you would then customize only when essential. And when you do, for heaven's sake, make sure you document every single thing that you changed. It is important. Documentation becomes even more important when you customize, so that at least you can retrace your steps if you get it wrong. And if possible, involve the actual vendors, the actual owners of this system. If possible, involve them in your customization journey. Do not do it in-house privately. It may cost you later. Remember, ERP is the backbone of your business. So when you crash it, you are crashing your business, really. So you need to handle it with care. It involves your money, your customers' data, your transactional data, your daily records, you name it. So you want to handle it with care. All right? So now let's talk about your role here. If you're a project manager, what should be your role? As I said, documentation is a big deal, especially when you cross the boundaries into customizing your system. You are the person that will need to advocate for good documentation from start to finish. Thank you very much, Giant Creative. Thank you for joining us. Deborah, thank you for joining. Thank you. So that's one. You want to ensure good documentation within your team. You want to ensure that they have assessed and reassessed upgrades, the risk attached to each of the upgrades they are doing. You want to make sure that you want to make sure that both the business and the tech team, they have overly assessed this risk properly before they venture into it. You are the person that's then putting them in check in terms of their timeline and cost and also scope. So they don't do this project for the next 3 years when it's supposed to be done for just 1 year. Welcome, Pochia. Thank you very much for joining us. Lily, welcome. Thank you for joining. You've just stepped into a very important conversation, so please join us. If you're a business analyst, you want to analyze whether a requirement can actually be met via configuration first. You are the person that is taking the requirement from the business and looking at it against what the system can actually do out of the box. If this thing is not available out of the box, okay, by little settings here and there, can you guys achieve it? Before going down the lane of customization. All right? Before you recommend customization, you want to exhaust the option, either by default setting or by configuration adjustment. You want to do that first before you go ahead and start customizing your system. That is your job as a BA. You are the person that is mapping their requirement to what is possible. If you are a product owner, again, you are the one that is deciding if customization is worth it now and in long term. Remember, you are the person that's supposed to know this system the most. So even though it would make the business happy now, you as a product owner, you should not fall victim or you should not fall prey of just this gratification in this minute. That's not your job. Your job is to ensure longevity. Yeah, that's your job. You are to ensure that over long term, the business will continue to have value from this system. That's your real job, not in this moment's gratification, not in the well done that you will receive now. You are the person that is pulling the business back every time they are going down every time they are going customization happy. You are the one that's dragging them back. You know what, guys? Let's think about this well. 5 years, 10 years down the line, are we still going to be enjoying this if we go down this route? That is your job as a product owner. All right? Long term, the business value, the benefits, realization of their investments is part of your core job as a product owner. So you don't want to lose that cap by joining the business in just the instant relief that they will receive now. You don't want to be part of the business. As a matter of fact, you want to be neutral from the business so that you can advise them correctly. I love it when product owners detach themselves from the business. Just know that you are serving the business. But a lot of product owners get themselves mixed up with the business just because they do not have they are not clear of their own identity. Okay? That's on configuration versus customization. I hope that's clear and I hope you can relate. If you have any question at all, please just drop it into the comments. I will pick it up as I go along. Okay? So I hope you can relate. If you have any question, drop it in the comments and I'll pick it up. The next session we want to treat is testing cycle. Testing. This one here It's like you test driving a car before buying it. All right. Only that you are going to be buying a car that is already fully done. In this case, you are kind of building, you are part of the team that's then building that car. So the question is, how does testing really work? And there are different layers to it. Unit testing. What do I mean by that? When they create the battery that runs your car, way before the car is built, they would unit test the battery first. Make sure the battery will stand the test of time. It wouldn't leak. It wouldn't lose current. It wouldn't expire over time. You are unit testing, like testing just the battery on its own before you test it as part of a car. When you create the tires, you are testing just the tires, testing the strength of it, the tread, the pressure acceptance, all of that, the threshold. You are testing all of that. You are unit testing it on its own before you're testing it as together with the rim, and then together with the car. So there are different layers to testing as well. There is individual minimal test, which is called unit test, where you are taking just that thing and answering just a simple question. Is it doing what it's supposed to do? Yes or no? Before you are adding other complexities to it. Does that make sense? So that is when you are unit testing. And then there are other level of tests. There are UAT tests, there are performance tests, there are security tests, you name it. You will go, step by step. When you pass one, you move on to the next. And then there are functional tests, there are non-functional tests, you name it. All right? So the question is, when you skip unit tests, what happens? Bearing in mind that this product you have bought off the shelf, maybe the owners have already unit tested it before they sold it to you. Just the same way when Google or Apple or Microsoft, when they advertise that new phone to you, they have unit tested it before they sold it to you. But how come when you bought it and you then charge it, your phone gets so hot, and then so much so that you have to go back to their shop to go and ask them question about it? Why is that? It's because, believe it or not, they unit test, believe me, but we do more of the functional test for them. We, the public, we do the functional test for them, and then they rely on our feedback. When we feedback to them, then they do the fix and then push the fixes out to us. And that's when they send you a message, oh, there is this update waiting on your phone, please download it. All right? We, the public, are their able team of testers because they are working on a big scale. They are retailers. They are manufacturers. They are in it for business. All right. So as long as they test up to a certain extent, everything else is fine. They push it through the door. They'll push it to the market, and obviously into our homes, into our lives. They'll push it to us. We will do the testing and feedback to them, whether we like it or not, because at the end of the day, you bought this one for about 2,300, 3,000 pounds. In some cases, it is in your interest that you feedback to them when this 3,000 pounds worth of phone is not working properly. It's yours now. You have bought it. Am I making sense, guys? So they will have unit tested it. They will functional test it up unto an extent. And because they are in it for business, they want to make money. They are in competition. Right? So they will push it out. You will buy it. And whether you like it or not, you are an employed tester to them. You will test it for them, and then you will feedback to them. And as many of us feedback to them, they will then do the fix and then push the fix back to us. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, hello T. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Royal Cram, thank you for joining us. Welcome, everybody. So that's it. So you will not rely on the fact that this ERP vendors, they have tested it. You guys will still need to test. You will need to do your own testing. For every adjustment you make, you will do your testing. You will do your own functional test, if not unit test, because at that point, I don't think you can do your unit test, except where you have customized. Then you can do your unit test. All right. But where you have just made, functional changes here and there, then you will do your functional test. You will then do your non-functional test. You will do your user acceptance test. You will do your performance test, your security test. All of those will come under your non-functionals. And if everything is okay, then you push it to your people, to your business to start using. Okay. So what is the risk here? If you skip any level of this test, what is the risk? Remember, people's money may be inside this ERP. Your inventory may be inside it. People's data may be inside it. People's records may be inside it. So when you do not test properly, you can imagine if your system overpaid your employee when your system mistakenly added another zero to everybody's salary. It's true. It's correct. It happens. Because I remember, I think it was 2 years ago, on cryptocurrency, one of the cryptocurrency platforms, everybody woke up a millionaire. One of the days, I think 2 of the days, 3 years ago or so, everybody woke up a millionaire. And you know why? Because the system automatically added a lot of zeros to everybody's coin. And you can imagine my joy when I woke up and I realized, oh my God, my coin has grown. It has really grown arm and leg and really, really bloated up. Only for me to read in the news that, you know what, there has been a bug. Nobody is able to withdraw their money. Because obviously, how can you withdraw when everybody has woken up a millionaire in error? If we were not able to withdraw that midnight, that crypto platform is gonna crash, like without rising ever again. So you can imagine when your own employees went into their bank account and they saw that a person that was due £1,500 was paid £15,000. I'm sure you guys will be happy. But what will happen to that business? That business is going to crash. So you need to ensure that you're testing your system properly. All right? You're testing your system properly. It is important. Another thing, inventory mismatch. Where you people sell at a wrong price. A thing that is worth £2,000 was mistakenly. That's a huge loss to everybody, both the staff and the company. The only person that was gaining in that instance will be your customer, because you can't go to their homes to get your inventory back. So not testing a solution is a problem. You don't want to do that. You want to test, and over-test it. It is important. You want to test it at every level. Yeah? Now, what will be your role? No, before that, what will be the steps? First, you will do your unit test, like the individual test, where you first of all check that, how do I put it? When you're cooking, where you drink the water first, make sure the water tastes good before you pour it into making a tea. And then you then taste the tea. So when you taste the water first separately, that is you unit testing the water. Then you taste the hot chocolate. You take the chocolate powder. They keep disturbing